Hi guys, welcome back to the Morning Ride, my honest talk show in which I talk and do a show simultaneously while I telecommute from my home to the office. Today I want to start a new subset of this show in which I answer any question that anybody can ask me. And so I start with my friend Daniele. He's a podcaster like me, and we do a show together when we comment live Apple keynotes. And he asked me 3 questions, so I have to answer 3 times. And for this, I little hate you. So let's start with the first question.
Hello everyone, I'm Daniele Borghi, the host of Tira Linee podcast and friend of Alex Racuglia. I'm also a heavy user of his application. Ale asked me to pose and ask me anything, questions regarding his work or application. Before I ask my question, please forgive my uncertain English. Unfortunately, I don't use too much and I believe I'm quite very rusty. Alex, I know that for many months I've been involved in development of your application, Transcribe. I'm very familiar with the regions of your application, which stem from your work-related needs. With this app that has put in touch with the FX Factory hours and a larger number of new users, how has your approach to app development changed? How will it influence user interface development?
This question is quite important and interesting, but the reality is that I never started a new app since I started my relationship with FX Factory. Yes, the development of Transcriber started in February 2023, and the first contact with the FX Factory was in December 2022. But until my first build that I sent them, I always followed the path that I draw to myself, for myself, in the past years, developing apps such as Bitmark, CutFinder, Converter, Diet, all these apps that I developed myself and sold myself, and in which I played all the roles, from the technology role, the marketing, the customer support, and stuff like that. And so Transcriber started as an multimedia directly sold application. I think that the relationship with FX Factory give me other eyes to watch the stuff that I do from another perspective, another point of view. And so the customer journey and the user experience changed. For this reason, if I will start a new app today, something that I didn't done because I'm working on 3 new apps, and all 3 apps, those 3 apps started developing before the starting of the relationship with FX Factory. So I don't know if my way of producing stuff has changed. I think that my personal journey as a developer has changed because I learned new skills and I learned a new way of doing the same things to get stuff more elegant, more compact, and so more maintainable. And I think that today I am more balanced than 1 or 2 years ago in the perspective of premature optimization and technical depth. If I start a new project, I think it, yes, as a minimal viable product, but keeping a lot of doors open to increase the complexity and the feature. You know, I started developing Transcriber as a single video, single SRT stream application, and then I changed halfway through, adding the possibility to have more than one subtitle stream. This was a pain in the, and you know what. Next time I will do something like this, I will think about it a lot before starting typing code, because it will be much easier to think all the stuff in a greater way and then develop only the simple solution, but having the foundation of the data model more robust and more expandable. I think this is something that changed in the last year as a developer, but I don't know if it's because of my relationship with FX Factory or just because I started a new way as an entrepreneur, and so I try to have another point of view not only the Alex workflow point of view, but something more general. I don't know. So the answer to your first question is, I don't know. But let's hear the second question.
How much and in what ways would you change the development of the apps you've already produced?
User interface is the most difficult thing to produce because it's tied very, very, very closely to the user experience and the user workflow. It's quite difficult to think of an app from a professional user point of view and a casual user point of view. Okay, you know, an app like a Transcriber, it's $39. It's not cheap, it's not expensive, it's something in the middle, but it can be used by a professional user, someone who has been working in this industry for 15, 20 years, and someone who started just as a YouTuber 1 year ago. The way a YouTuber and a newbie works, it's very, very, very different if you compare it to someone who has been working in this field for 20 years, because 20 years ago, editing software were completely different. Yes, there were timelines, but this is the only thing that hasn't been changed in the post-production world. The mobile revolution started with the iPhone and the app ecosystem, created a new, broader audience of people who are using very, 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 very simple apps. Some apps that does just one thing and try to do it as best as they can. The user experience, the user workflow has changed. User interface is quite different. It's quite difficult. The guys at FX Factory helped me a lot in this because they have a much larger experience. They have tons of customers, and so they developed a very, very, very broad experience on what the people expect from an app, a professional app, or a casual but powerful app. And so they gave me a lot of hints and suggestion on how to change. Sometimes change just a word on a label, or sometimes pushing my boundaries, pushing my limits, because I never thought about an onboarding screen for my apps, but they say to me, it's quite important to have it because it helps the user in their customer journey. And so all my apps starting Transcriber have an onboarding page, not only for the first time, but for every time you use it, because they give you pre-made paths through creating new documents, opening new one, open tutorials, something that has been added recently, the Transcriber batch. They helped me a lot, making me see my apps from the user point of view, a new pair of eyes, to give a fresh look to the interface and to go and taking things off from the main interface. So the simple path is clear and easy to follow. And if you're a very, very powerful customer or powerful user, you can have more options, but they stay on a second layer. It's quite difficult to do this because the things that are important and essential for me are not the things that are important or essential for everybody. And so if I have hundreds of thousands of customers, I have hundreds and thousands of stories and hundreds or thousands of way to interpret the way my app works. They help me a lot in this. So the answer to the second question is yes, they help me a lot on this. After my experience with Transcriber and my upcoming app, FCP Postcutter, I think that I learned a lot on how to present information to the user and how to get the intents from the user to operate on the data. Because all apps solves problem by transforming some data in other types of data. I think that the things that I learned the hard way with Transcriber reflected on FCP Postcutter and on my next app that will be released sometimes in 2024, the apps that does digital voice actor, because the underlying model, the underlying engine has its own complexities, and I want to hide and handle all this complexity for the user to present something that can be pleasant to use and easy and not give a fatigue, but give a good experience to the user. This is something that is quite difficult to express because I think that there's no a magical formula or a procedure or algorithm that you can follow to create something that is good. But it's quite easy to understand what doesn't work. So the things that I do to friends or beta tester, I collect their feedback to understand what they do not understand, to make it clearer, or to present stuff and interaction with the user in another way until I reach a sufficient goal.
Okay, sorry. You asked me just one question, and I've asked three. And thank goodness I have to ask them in English. Okay, sending a hug and greetings to your listener. Goodbye.
I hope my answer were enough satisfying, and I would like to thank Daniele for this help. And I'm open to other questions. If you want to ask me anything, AMA, I'm here to answer with my very, very, very tiny experience as a developer and a tiny experience as a TV commercial director. That's all for today. If you want to leave a comment, I'll be glad to read and comment your comment because feedback is the most important thing for a content creator like me. If you like this kind of content, please subscribe to this channel. Click on the bell if you want to be notified. I don't think you will ever do this because I am very, very boring. I'm a very boring person, but who knows? If you like it, it can be a starting for an interesting discussion. So that's all for today. I have to go to Milan to finish another storyboard, another version for the storyboard that my client asked me with a very, very, very stupid idea. But I have to implement this on the storyboard to show him that it's a stupid idea. But given the fact that the idea started from him, it will go directly to the final product. You know, if one day we will fight those egos without feeling attached, it would be a very great day. But it's not today. So, ciao!